Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our Yakima RidgeBack hanging style bike rack here on our 2019 Volvo XC60. So the Yakima RidgeBack is your option for when you want to carry around multiple bikes. This comes in a 4-bike and a 5-bike version. If you want to carry around 5 bikes, this might be your best option at doing so. So first we'll take a look at the way our bike is mounted. So we have 2 mounting points here at the top, and we have this third mounting point here at the bottom, which is our anti-sway cradle. So see the sway we have with that attached, and when you want to take the bike off, this is also where you start. You just press those zip strips on the side and you just pull that zip strip out. I like to just put them here on these arms until I'm done taking the bike off. So they're exactly as their name suggests, zip strips. You just pinch the side and like a zip, those are out. And once you have those released, I put these cradles in so that they don't get tangled up. Let's put that one right over there. Oh, also notice the increase in sway without that anti-sway cradle. You can see why that is very useful. Okay, so let's bring this up and bring them through the arms. The thing with hanging racks is depending on your bike's frame, this may or may not be a difficult process and just something you'll have to devote time towards at the beginning and the end of your bike rides. Okay, let's bring these zip strips back in. So notice how on our cradles we have this rubber cushion. This also has a groove on the inside for your brake lines, and that rubber padding is nice. You also see it underneath the zip strip because it cushions your bike's frame, but also helps grip it or provide traction so that it stays on the bike rack during transport. You can see how our anti-sway cradle also has that cushion. Depending on the size or shape of your frame is why you have that curve tool too. Okay, so you have 4 cradles over here. There is a version that has 5 cradles, and this is 5.5 inches apart. So if you do want a little bit of more space between your bikes, you might want to consider the Yakima Back Road, which has 7 inches between the cradles, creating a little bit more of space. We'll take some measurements real quick just to see how much length is added to the back of your vehicle. So from our bumper to right there where you have our bottle openers, it sits at 41 inches of length added to your XC60. The 5-bike version will have about 5 extra inches for that. It's a lot of space taken up, so whenever you back into your garage or you try to park into a tight spot, please don't forget that you have that bike rack as well as those bikes behind you, and your space is limited. You also see how this bottle opener on this end can be replaced with a cable lock if you want to, and integrated right over there in the back if you want to add some locking features to your bikes. With a weight capacity of 150 pounds total, it is a pretty decent capacity. Now, an upside to that is that you do have a single bike weight capacity of 40 pounds. So if you have some bikes that are like at 30, 35, 40, no issues at all as long as your total weight is not over 150. It's the same weight capacity for the 5-bike version. Now let's take a look at another feature, which is that you can fold these arms down. To do so, you just lift this up, bring this lever up, and those arms down right there. So this is as much movement as you're going to get out of those arms in the dropped position. So we'll take some measurements again. Measuring from our bumper to the end of the rack, it sits at 16 inches of length added. Big difference compared to when the arms were up. So if you're not planning on taking your bikes out just yet, but you also don't want to take your bike rack off, you can just fold the arms to make it a bit more portable. Closest point is going to be from the bumper to, let's say, this mast down here, and that's about 5 3/4 inches of clearance, so no worries at all about this making contact with your vehicle. As for how this fits in the folded up position, it comes slightly above our rear windshield wiper, but you're still going to get most of your visibility out of your rear window. Obviously, our taillights are completely visible, which is nice when you're on the road at night. Now our backup camera is slightly offset, no, not slightly offset, is very offset towards the passenger side. So it sits right here, right where those arms are. So the good news is that the main mast isn't covering it, but the arm is. You still are going to be able to see if there are cars behind you, but your vision is slightly limited in this configuration. Your license plate is also kind of covered towards the center. Now let's take a look at if you want to access your hatch, you do have options. What you can do is you can pull this lever. You may have to push the bike rack in. There we go. Pull that lever and just drop this down to a tilt. You cannot do this with your bikes on, so just keep that in mind. You will have to take your bikes off to do so. But I do like the deep tilt this gives us, because now with our hatch open, we have plenty of space to get into our trunk. Maybe grab our bags, our helmets, our waters, really whatever we need out of our trunk. So while you do have to take your bikes off, it is nice that you don't have to take your bike rack off to access that trunk. Okay, let's talk about how this fits into our hitch. So this has an 1.25 inch shank, and this has a 2-inch hitch adapter on that shank, since we do have a 2-inch hitch receiver. So that adapter is included with the bike rack. We have the safety pin in our hitch pin hole, but what really tightens it down is this anti-rattle wedge accessed by this knob. So this knob is locking. You can lock this to secure the bike rack, but once you have it unlocked, you can tighten this down to create the anti-rattle effect. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to shake right here at the shank. You may see the vehicle moving, showing how even with the adapter in place, there really is no movement right there. It takes out most of the rattle. Any rattle or movement you will feel will come straight from the road and not from an improper fit between the two, making for a smoother ride for your bikes overall. Okay, so my final thoughts about this bike rack is I really do like how you get to carry multiple bikes. Now, I always prefer to use a platform rack just so that my bikes are not swaying against each other. But if I did get a hanging style rack, I do like how this is a comfortable hanging style rack. Now here is, you do have a car that can carry a bit more people than, let's say, a tiny sedan, and we have more trunk space too. So it is nice to have a bike rack that can match that capacity as well. So that was a look here at our Yakima RidgeBack hanging style bike rack here on our 2019 Volvo XC60.
Here it is on our test course. We'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Next, we're at the alternating speed bumps, which we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving over uneven pavement. And finally, we have the full speed bumps, where we'll see the up and down action, which is just like driving out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway.